Hello, and welcome to the third part of this series, where I'm going to be showing you how to create different kind of simple animations to get you started with product animation easily. So here we are in the same scene that we left in the shading part, and now I'm going to show you how to create the most interesting 360 animation. And this is the basic shot that we're going to start from. So first let's select that object. I'm going to hide this plane and hide this object as well. So we have that. Now as we've already done the parenting, I'm just gonna select all these objects here. You can just hit Ctrl C on this and they will be copied. Now right here, I'm gonna click this button and we're gonna create a new scene. And now in there, just hit Ctrl V to paste the whole thing. So I'm gonna close this shading tab first and open a timeline here. Hit L to get the timeline. Oh, and I think in the shading part we did a little mistake. So if you go to the shading tab, you can see we used the position as the coordinates for the gradient. So to fix that, we're gonna have to use object coordinates or UV coordinates. Okay, let's get an empty. Shift S cursor to selected and Shift S selection to cursor. Let's right click, adjust empty size, bring it up. I'm gonna select this now and let's get in texture coordinate and select the object empty with it. Now connect the object to the vector. Now I'm gonna play with this add value. Okay, I think this is the solution. Now just select these three nodes and copy them, and then we're gonna go to the materials tab, select the second material, the body side stat001, and paste it here. Connect that to the gradient again and remove these. So I think that's it. Now I'm gonna select this object, everything is parented to this, and then I'm gonna select this empty right here. Hit Ctrl P and keep transform. Now when we rotate or move this empty, our gradient is gonna stay on its place because the coordinates are related to that empty. Now we can do anything we like and our texture problem is solved. So now let's get a camera here. I'm gonna go to timeline and let's shift S cursor to world origin, shift S selection to cursor. Now let's get a camera, grab y-axis, and we're gonna open a camera view right here and hit T, turn off both of these, go to camera view. You can go to camera view from here as well. And now I'm going to select my camera, go to the camera settings and turn up the pass part out to 1 so you get all the black boundary right there. Let's rotate this product a little bit so that it's interesting, and I'm gonna hit RZ to rotate it that way as well, and now hit double R just like that to get a nice angle of that. I'm gonna hit I to insert a location and rotation keyframe. On the 150 frame, hit RZ 360 degrees. I'm gonna hit I, insert, location and rotation. Now if you play this, this is how it looks like. It's not very interesting, but we're gonna fix that in the graph editor. And later we're gonna give it some location as well. But you can do that in the camera too. Now if I go to my graph editor by going right here, you can see we have the Z axis right there, and we're gonna change that. So let's turn off all the other ones and just leave the Z axis. So I'm gonna duplicate this keyframe, bring it right here and scale Y0. Scale it up again just like that and rotate it a little bit. So let's see how this looks like. Okay, now on the frame 74 I'm gonna select all the keyframes with A, and let's go back just like that and grab it along the Y-axis. Z, Y, So something like that. Let's check that out. Now let's play this. Okay, this is what I want. I think this is too slow, so I'm gonna select all the keyframes, hit S and bring the scale down until it looks like 120 or something. So we're covering up 120 frames right there, and the end is gonna be 120 as well. Now let's play this. Great. Now our motion is looking a little bit more interesting, and now what I want to do is locate this too. So right here, I'm going to bring this along the y-axis, y-axis, and insert location and rotation. Now let's play that. So you can see when it zooms to the camera a little bit, so that's what we want, and then it goes back just like that. Now on this frame, I'm going to try something different here. Let's just hit double R on this and rotate it that way and insert location and rotation. Let's play that. Okay, this is a very nice animation. I personally don't like the simple 360 animations. They just don't look good. They look very stiff. And I think this is an interesting way to do 360 animations. Now you can do an interesting lighting here. Let's go to the rendered view. The max samples are gonna be 300 and the noise threshold is gonna be 0.001. Denoise, let's make it optics, and I'll be doing normal. If you don't have these specs, you can just leave it on default, but the samples is gonna be 300. The look is gonna be medium high contrast, and that's it. Now I'm gonna choose RGB here, and that's it. Now let's do some lighting as well. So first of all, I want to show the edges of the product. So to do that, you're gonna need to add light, area light behind the product. So let's RX 90, negative, and gray y-axis. Let's scale this light up and give it a power of 1000. So you can see the edges are appearing slowly. Let's just scale that up. And there we go. We got Apple kind of look here. So let's make it 1500. And I'm going to scale the light up a little bit more. Bring it down just like that. This is looking awesome. Now I'm going to add another light to reveal this area of the product. So let's hit Shift D to duplicate the same one. Scale it down. Hit double R. And there we go. Now in the spread, I'm gonna make it 20 and let's see how this looks like. And the power is gonna be 500. Grave double Z and look at this. You can get different looks here. This is looking very interesting. And now if you play this, that's how it's gonna look like. So there you go, we got the 360 animation. Actually, I'm gonna change the background, so go to the film, turn on transparent, so we get some transparency here. Then go to compositing, turn on use nodes, Control Shift click on that and get an alpha over. Bring that down and set your color to be gray or something. I'm gonna render it again. Once that's done, you can choose the color right here as you like. So let's go for something like this. This looks nice. You can go to compositing now and get a color balance node. It will make it look very good. In the first one, let's bring it down a little bit. To give it that cool look, I'm gonna make the second one bluish. And the third one, let's bring it up just like that. Now, see the difference here. If I mute that, it looks pretty good. Now you can play around with the lights and all that and get different looks. The spread, I'm gonna make it 50 now. It's much softer now. And you can see what I did here. I have turned on the viewport compositing here, so the compositing I did there is gonna be visible in the viewport compositor right here. If I disable it, you can see it's our old scene right there, and the camera it's composited. You can set it to always or camera, so if it's set to camera, it will be available in camera only. That's our 360 animation. You can play around with all that settings and stuff like that. Now let's create some more shots here. So let's come over here on the timeline, A, X, and delete keyframes. Now I want to parent my camera to an empty so that we can control it easily. So let's shift S cursor to selected, shift A, empty, and cube. I'm gonna set its size up, select the camera, then select the empty cube, control P and keep transform. Select the cube, scale it down, our z-axis, just find a good angle here so that we can capture it, and we're gonna change the lighting for it as well. So just scale that down. And in this scene, I want to move this button just like that, so it's a very cool shot, just like that. So go back to frame 1, R double X, and bring it back just like that. Scale it back a little bit, and I insert location and rotation. Now this is gonna be 60 frames shot, so the end frame is gonna be 60. Then hit R double X again, bring it back just like this. I'm gonna scale it down a little bit in G to bring it down a little bit. Insert location and rotation. Now let's play that. I think this is a little bit fast, so the end frame is gonna be 100 for that. Select that and bring it back to 100. This looks nice. So on frame 1, insert rotation. On frame 100, R double Z, and bring it back just like this. Insert rotation again. Now if you play that, much more interesting. So I want to change the lighting a little bit so that it looks better. Depends on what you like. You can duplicate this light and bring it right here to this side and hide this one as well, or make it very less powerful, like 50. And look at that. I also want to animate this thing because I modeled it right. Let's select that. On the frame 20, I'm gonna insert a offset keyframe right here. We have this on the constraints, and on the frame 80, let's bring down the offset that way and insert this. Now if you play that, we also had those shape keys for the buttons, so you can animate them too. But that's the shot we have done. Now let's create another shot, which is gonna be the final one, something like daylight. I'm gonna hit Alt H to reveal my objects here. Let's turn this on as well. We're going to get a camera first. Shift A, camera, and Control Alt and numpad 0. Select the camera. In the focal length, I'm gonna make it 200, and G/Z, then bring it back just like this. You can bring it back from here as well. G/Z, and grab it that way. Now we haven't done any lighting here. Gonna go to material preview. So let's get a light. We're gonna get a spotlight. R, G/Z. The power is gonna be 30,000. Now let's select the camera first and turn on the pass part out. Turn it up. Select the light. Go to the rendered view. And now I'm gonna go to the shading tab. Turn on use nodes on this light. We're gonna get a noise texture. It's gonna be used as a gobo, so it will cover some light and let some light in to make those interesting shadows. And now I'm gonna hit Ctrl T, use the normal coordinates, remove the mapping node. After the factor, we're gonna use a greater than node. It's a math node set to greater than. Connect that to the strength. Bring up the noise scale. Now you can see those interesting shadows, and if I bring up and down the threshold on this is how it looks like. You can bring up the scale as you like, and just duplicate this greater than, set it to multiply, and you can change the power of the light from here. Now this looks very sharp. To make it smooth, you're gonna turn up the radius, and look at this. It looks awesome. Now you can bring up the scale of noise as well, and that's it. Bring it up and down the threshold, and there you go. You can just post this render on your Instagram. It looks pretty nice. And you can also animate the light here. So if you set this to 40 and then you play around with the W of the noise, you can animate it. Just click this and type hash frame divided by 1000 or something. And if it's too fast, you're gonna divide it by a bigger number. Now if I play this, you can see how this looks like. It's still very fast, so I'm gonna divide it by 2500, and I'll display that. Look at this. It looks awesome. And we've animated that in the shading as well, so it's also animated. There you go, you got a clean composition here. Now, what I want to do is just do a little bit of camera movement. We want an empty as well for this one. Shift S cursor to select it, Shift add an empty, plane axis, and scale it up. Bring it up right here. Select the camera, then select the empty, Control P, and keep transform. I'm gonna select the empty first, and now we're gonna animate it. So you can do all sorts of motions here, just very subtle ones with R, Z, and stuff like that. But I'm gonna do a very simple shot here now. First, let's scale this. Hit R to rotate it. Scale it down a little bit. That's the first shot that I'm gonna make. So insert, location, rotation, and scale. And on the frame 60, I'm going to hit RZ, R, scale it up a little bit, and insert, location, rotation, and scale. So let's play this. I'm going to select this object now, and make sure you have changed the coordinates for this, because we used the object coordinates with an empty on it there. So for that, you just have to Shift S cursor selected, Shift add in an empty plane axis, scale the empty up, select the object, and then we're gonna get an object coordinates, select the empty with it, then connect the object to the vector, and play around with this value. So if I bring it down, oh, the white looks very nice. And in the second one as well, you just have to copy these nodes, copy, and paste it here, connect that to the vector. and just delete them. So that's it. Now parent this object to this empty. Control P, keep transform. Now we're gonna animate this empty only. So on the frame 45, I'm gonna insert a location and rotation. And on the frame 1, let's grab this away, just like that, rotate it to move it away that way. And hit double R to randomize the rotation a little bit more. And insert location and rotation. Now if you play this, look at that. It looks awesome. So on frame 61, I'm going to select the camera controller empty, which is right here, and hit Alt R and Alt S on this. R Z axis, scale it down that way, insert location, rotation, and scale. Now on frame 200, we're going to scale it back that way in R Z axis, double R to give it some interesting rotation. Insert location, rotation, and scale. The end frame is going to be 200. Let's play that. Okay, this looks pretty nice. If you want a nice transition here, on the frame 55, insert a location, rotation, and scale keyframe on the camera controller, and on the frame 60, scale it up back just like that. And now insert location, rotation, and scale. And on frame 61, scale the empty down, insert location, rotation, and scale. And frame 65, scale it up back to its normal state, insert location, rotation, and scale. Now if you play that, it's gonna look much more interesting because we did that transition in there. You can see, nice. But a little bit of problem here is we haven't really rotated the right way. So on frame 61, let's rotate it like this and insert location, rotation, and scale. Now if you play that, oh, if I bring this back to the 70, okay, let's rotate it a little bit more. Scale it down, insert location, rotation, and scale. Now the 70th keyframe is gonna be on 90 or 100 so that we get a smoother transition. Let's just delete this keyframe. Now I don't want to spend more time on this and just play around with your scene, and I think I'll see you in my next tutorial.